Okay, welcome to Bite-Sized Pixels. Today we will be continuing from our folder setups and we will be creating basic HTML5 content. So first of all, we need to go into our index.html file. If you haven't opened this already, you can go into your documents, My Sites and My First Website and click on the index folder and that will open up in Dreamweaver for you. Then you should have something like this. Now the first thing that I actually want to do is link up my index page to my style sheet. So to do this, we need to be in between the head and the body file elements. And what we need to do is open up a new element, link href. If you click enter, it will let you browse for a file. So click enter, and you see it's already opened up My First Website. We have our index page and our style sheet. What we want to do is click on our style sheet, ensure that it's in the site root, and open. We next want to make this relative. So we'll click rel, hit enter, and then this needs to be a style sheet, so it's telling our Dreamweaver files that this is a style sheet. Okay. The last thing that we want to do is enter our type. Now as you can see, if it's a JavaScript we would hit this button, but as it is a CSS file we just want to enter that and then do our closing bracket there. If this has worked correctly, I can hit File, Save All. If I hit Live, you will see that in my index I have my source code and my style sheet. If I go and shut down my top style sheet in my header there, I can still access my style sheets from here. Whilst this is displayed, I can show you this is a code if you want your code to fill the entire page. Split will let you alter your text and view it as well. And here you will just want to have it on live to be able to actually see it. But if I go onto my style sheet, you can see in the split I've got my style sheet there. And if I click my code will come out into the full screen. Okay, so in my source code we have our body tags here, and this is where we need to put all of our elements for the website. So just inside this, just make a bit of space for yourself. And what we will first want to do is just create a wrapper for all of our information, all of our content pages to go into. Okay, so you open your bracket, you enter div, and we want to put ID. If you hit enter at that point, it comes up with this equals and then the speech brackets. This makes it a bit quicker if you're typing quite quickly. And what we just want to do is write wrapper. Close that. And what you'll want to do as well, every single time you open up an element, is also create a closing element. Now in Dreamweaver, in the index you can actually add comments. Now down the side here you can use it without having to type it in yourself. So if you put apply HTML comment, you can see that it is grey. This will not show up on your website, so if you've got little notes that you want to write to yourself, this is where you would write it. What I like to do to ensure that I can keep up with all my elements is actually write. This can help you in the long run. If you have lines and lines and lines of code and you don't know which elements are which, this will help you keep track of it all. Now inside here there are new HTML5 elements which I'll show you now. One of them is header. If you just close that, it'll actually close it for you. Notice this says header and the closing has this backslash just there, and that ensures you that that is closed. If I go onto my style sheet and type header, open my brackets and type in background color. Notice this is American software, so you have to write color, C-O-L-O-R, but you will get used to this. Put that there, choose a color. Now for this I'm going to choose a nice orange, but RGBA will make sure that all the colors here will be suitable for a website. And you have your hue down here, you have your saturation there, and you have your alpha. So this will change the opacity for you. So if you're going for some effects, this will be a great tool for that. So let's just choose a nice orange, hit enter, and note you must put a semicolon at the end of your CSS file to ensure that it closes this element. So if you go onto your live, you should see that it appears, but if it doesn't, what you might actually need to do, go into your source code and actually just type in here header. If you now go into your live view, you will see that header comes up, and that is your HTML file and your CSS file linked up correctly. Now I'm just going to save this just whilst I know that it's all working. And the next thing that I'll want to do is create a navigation file. So for navigation, it is nav, N-A-V. And again, I'm just going to close this. Okay. Now this aside section that you'll see is an extra element which goes into your HTML file. If you've got content which isn't directly related, this can go into here, but we'll go more into that in the next tutorial. So aside section. This is where main bulks of your content will end up going. Now in this section folder, I'm going to write section, but I'm also going to have another element embedded within this. So this I'm going to call article. This is where your main content information will go. If you've got any blog information, this will go into here. So just make sure you close that as well. So we have navigation and closing, aside and closing, section, article within that, closing the section, and we'll just enter a footer in there as well. So the footer is mainly where your copyright files or your further information resources can be, to allow users that will be familiar with websites to go there. If we go into our live, you'll now see that all down the side here you have your different elements. And if we go into Stylesheet, we can add these other ones in. So we have our header. Now I want to create one for navigation. Just create a quick background color for that. And for this we'll go for a nice red, nice bright red, make it stand out. Press enter, semicolon. And we want our side column. And this one we will create in a nice blue, I think. go for that one. I'm just using these colours just to help you differentiate between the different elements within the structure of a site. Normally you would have a set of colours already put aside for it to make it easier. Just create one for our section. Just create a nice, maybe a nice lime green for this one. And we want our article. Just make this a bit darker, I think, so it stands out. And our footer. We'll go for another blue for this one. Okay, now there's one that I haven't mentioned, and that is our wrapper. Because we've created it in as a div ID, this is ever so slightly different in your CSS file. For this you have to actually use a dash key. You see it already comes up with an example for me, as this is the only div element already in our HTML file. So if we hit OK, you'll see it comes up that wrapper, but you can still add your normal element or your normal brackets, but we're actually going to keep that empty just for the moment. I'm going to hit Save All, go into our live, and there you can see all of our different sections are there, all links to CSS, and they're all working. Okay, thank you for watching.